So you're thinking about moving out to the Destin area and you still want to get to access of all these awesome features, still not necessarily be in the mix of things. So what we're going to talk about today is one of the outskirts of the Destin area, which is Fort Walton Beach. So if you're looking for a place that's not just affordable, but also has the access to everything that you're looking for and a lot more, then this might be your place. So what we're going to be going over today is going to be, and I've got so much here, I got to go off a cheat sheet here. We're going to be talking about traffic, future growth, our activities and recreation that's out here, the weather, it's a little gloomy today actually, our school systems, the community, our cultural diversity, which surprisingly enough is more than you'd expect. We'll talk about healthcare, and not only, I know I'm listing off these things, but we're not only going to talk about them, I'm going to show you in this video all the places that you can expect to go and what to see as we go through it, okay? So we're going to talk about shopping and entertainment, the job market and the economy here. So we're going to build up all that in this great atmosphere. We're going to go around town. You're going to see the entire tour. So let's first go take a look at traffic. All right, so as you see behind me, and you can probably hear it in the background, this is where all the traffic is at. Now, what we're looking at here in downtown Fort Walton Beach, this is Highway 98. Yeah, they call it Highway 98. It doesn't really look like a highway in most respects. This is where we're gonna see most of the traffic here. Like, we're literally standing on it. We're off season right now. It's early morning on a Thursday in February. So we don't have a lot of the seasonality, which we're gonna talk about here in a little bit. But normally this place is bumper to bumper this time in the morning. Why? Because we're gonna walk up to this. We have Brooks Bridge, which gets us from Fort Walton Beach downtown into the Okaloosa Island area where the beach is and everything else, where all the tourists are going, and maybe you're going with the family, right? Because you live here in paradise, why not? But the traffic here is a little bit frustrating at times as we come through, and as you can see, we can see cars are backing up here now, and it's because we have a light up here. The one thing about Fort Walton that you're going to really enjoy though is that there are multiple ways to get to certain destinations. If you're in Destin, or if you're in Navarre or any of these other places, you only have really one way to go, or you have to go all the way around in order to get to any of these other places. So here we have different outlets. So we just saw me walk past one of them coming off of Beale. We also have another one up here that's a cutoff that people will go to get to the light to go over Brooks Bridge. But there's multiple ways to go. So if there's an accident, there's congestion, then you've got options. Plus, you also can go up around Choctaw Bay to get into Destin. There is a toll bridge that you're gonna have to go over, but at least you got options, right? Because what we're gonna see when we go over to Okaloosa Island is that it's 6 miles of untouched beach out there. However, we can get backed up because of whatever happens on there. Those are some things. I will let you know that throughout Fort Walton Beach, your average commute time is around 21.3 minutes. There are some alternatives to get around that, but it really depends on where you're gonna go. Here's that main area I was talking about, the main light that the people will go to. This is where Publix is at. You can see that. There's Beach Liquors, and this is where all the downtown stuff is. Now, what you're gonna see ahead of us right now, the time of this video is in the early part of 2025, is you're gonna see right here that they are updating this bridge. And because of that, there's a lot of construction, new lanes, things like that you'll need to be aware of here. Now, this is a 5-year project. It's probably a year in now, but you know how the government works, right? This may take a little bit longer than anticipated. That also goes into what I wanted to talk about here too, is future growth. So in here we do have that new project coming in. They're actually expanding a lot of this stuff out. You'll see also on Okaloosa Island that they're opening everything up. They're actually building it out now to where there's going to be a walking and bike path all the way from Santa Rosa Boulevard all the way down into Destin, into the Destin Bridge. which means that there's going to be probably 10 plus miles of trails and biking that wasn't there before to just go through like the beautiful sand dunes and everything else that you're going to have here. Now, a lot of other developments are going on in this area too. As you can see here, you know, we've got some new waterfront bars. We've got some new places where people can go eat. There's new eateries coming out here. All of this is coming with the way that these are going. And we talk about future expansion too. We're looking at this bridge. Let me flip this around again. But we look at this bridge here, and what they're trying to figure out is they're going to see if they're going to go around the mound that's back here, or they're going to have the traffic continue the way that it goes. What that really means is that we're going to see an influx of more commerce downtown. So if you're going to look to invest into a business or something like that, like this would be a good place to come down here, because this is going to open up. If you've ever been to Pensacola before, then you'll notice like here's some more of these different places here. We've got the city's finest right over there watching out for us, but you're going to see a lot more things develop down here on Brook Street is where we're walking now, and we're going to see a lot more of these things kind of pop open like Halifax Street in Pensacola. So there's going to be a lot more opportunity coming here in the next 5 years, depending upon, they still haven't figured out where that road's gonna go. There's been lots of other things. Some other parts that you should be aware of, that they are updating a lot of the roads. They are updating a lot of these parks. There are 2 waterfront parks that we're gonna see. One's technically in Mary Esther, the Liza Jackson Park, that they're putting up more boat launches as they're redoing the park. They're also doing the landing. So I'm gonna walk up here and show you some of the things that they're doing, and then we'll talk about what that is. All right, so we just passed actually one of the older drinking spots that are over there, and it made me start thinking like a lot of these old bars and whatnot that were down here that people would go to, like KC's and places like that. A lot of those places have already folded up shop and left. So there's been a lot of businesses jumping in here, kind of taking the place. There's new Soundside Bar that has beautiful views that is right down the end here. It's where our Giovanni's 850 used to be. You can see that we've seen Beach Weekend really take off down here too. Big tourist spot here. There's a pickleball court right here. The other one that has gone in, there's a couple of new breweries that have come into town. One of the ones that's already open that I'm going by now is Woodfoot. Pretty good beers here, rotating taps. They got some guest taps in here too. If you like delicious libations like I do, it's a good place to go. But there's plenty of expansion and things that are going on. What I'm going to show you now, I'll flip the camera over, is you're going to see a lot of construction out here. And what you're going to see over here is kind of hard to tell from our vantage point, so we'll walk on over here. And what you've seen here is that they're redoing all the public dock that are down here to get access here to the landing, to get into Fort Walton Beach, have access to everything that's downtown. It's actually pretty nice. Now, a couple of other things that we should look at is that we can see here that they are building a main stage that's going to be right here downtown. Cool thing here too, I don't know if you can tell from this video, but there's actually parking spaces for golf carts. They built out this whole area for golf carts. Why? Because they have entertaining down here too, which I'll talk about here in a bit in the summer concert series that they do. But hopefully you guys can see a little bit over the fence there that they're building out this entire area, like another walkway. They're building out a stage. And the cool part about all of this next to this construction zone is that building pretty much like a natural amphitheater down to the water. Now, the cool part about the stage from the pictures that we've seen is that you'll be able to moor your boat out there or dock or whatever that you need to do, and you can be part of all of those different events and things that are coming down here. Now, they do hold a bunch of events out here in this area. Like a lot of the times we've seen the Craftathon, which is another brewery event, but you'll see plenty of different things happening here, and we'll probably see more of them as the facilities and everything expand into the landing, which is the park that we're in now. To give you another glance around, they're doing the Around the Mound, the amphitheater. They're gonna have a splash pad out here for the kiddos, and of course we got that bridge. All right, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna head on down to Okaloosa Island to show you what the big deal is down there and some more information for you guys to see. We got more of this coming, so make sure that you stick around. And welcome here to Okaloosa Island, all right? So on here today, what you're gonna see is this is the main attraction that we have over here on Okaloosa Island. This is not the only thing, but this is where most of the tourists are gonna hang out. Like you can see behind me that we have a massive parking lot around here. This is the off season, lucky for me. I was able to find parking out here, but this is free access out to the beach. You don't have to pay for anything. Over here, we're gonna walk through. This is where all the shops and everything are in here too. And we're also gonna talk a little bit more about the activities and things that you can find here in Fort Walton Beach that's actually in Fort Walton Beach that you don't have to go to Destin-Fort. So as we start to go in here, what are some things? So obviously the beach, we're gonna go take a look at that, right? And see what that looks like. Even today on an overcast day, it's gonna be beautiful, right? We also have all the water sports that you can imagine. Go ahead and rent a pontoon. You can get jet skis. You can go out on a cruiser. If you are gonna check that out, check out Power Up Water Sports here. Great guys, know the owner. Just awesome place for you guys to go rent. We also have the picnics you can have on the beach. There's different picnic areas. There's other things outside this beautiful beach that you wanna go out and check out. There is absolutely plenty of things here. Of course, there are pickleball courts throughout the area. Heck, you wanna do disc golf? Over at Ferry Park, there's disc golf. We also have regular golf. If you're like me, you like to go camping, which is me in the woods all the time. Fort Walton Beach does have an open to the public golf course there. Definitely played that many a times. Heck, downtown we saw that there was an axe throwing place that's down there, which was pretty cool. And of course the nightlife, but let's take this off of me for a sec. Let's just see what we have in store here. So coffee bar, shops, all sorts of cool stuff here. This is not just the one, there is an upstairs as well, right? Public bathrooms, cool music, picnic tables. There's Rockin' Tacos up on the second deck with awesome views. There's public bathrooms down here, and you can see there's extra open picnic tables. Now, as you might imagine on a beautiful white sand beach like this, is that we would have volleyball courts, which we absolutely do. This is year round here. So let's walk out here just a little bit more so you guys can see, what we have here. Plenty of space. The nice part about these beaches too is that if you like to have a couple of drinks or whatever, you can't have glass out here, but you can have alcohol on these beaches, which is nice. Like you can go, and if you're down here at this beach, you can go to any one of these restaurants. The main one is right over there, over at the Crab Shack, and you can just get a big old bucket if you want to. Reminds me of my days in South Korea. They used to have these big buckets that you would just put a bunch of straws in and drink from. They got one of those there. We used to call them ammo bowls. If you know what I'm talking about, leave the comment here below. There's just tons of space, guys. Over here too, you've got the fishing pier, and of course you can fish off of that. You do have to pay to get out there, but that's really just so that it maintains. You've got anglers out there, great seafood place, great views as well. One just caution to that is if it's super hot, the air conditioning, they don't have it, so you're just gonna be sweating, but you're coming off the beach, so it's probably still gonna be a nice little reprieve. But there's tons of different places you can see. We've got the island resort over here too for people to stay at, right? So let's go ahead and just pan back this way. I mean, this is what you come here for, right? All right, so some things to talk about here since we're out here on the beach. Let's talk a little bit more about the weather and what to anticipate here. So it's an unusual overcast day. I say that because most of the time here in Florida, we have an average of 226 sunny days out of the 365, 366, whatever, right? So that's pretty awesome that we have that here. Now, we'll talk about temperature. It's in February right now. As you can see, I've got my short sleeves on, I've got pants on, right? And this is, cold for us Floridians. However, this is unseasonably warm here because normally in the wintertime, it's around 45 to 55 degrees. Now, I'll tell you, we did have a bit of a fluke a couple of weeks ago. It had been, almost 30, 40 years since this happened, but we did get a dusting of snow, like up to 6 inches of snow here in this area. Now, I've never heard of that. The last time that happened was 1986, so you can do the math, or 87, but still, it can get into the 20s and even into the 30s every once in a while, but there's maybe an accumulation of a week's worth of time, an entire year, that it will actually get down to that. Other than that, it's very pleasant, just downright hot. Once we get into the spring, we're gonna average around 60s to 70s most of the time. It's beautiful. Now in the spring, and in the fall, that's when you're going to see most of those festivals and things like that happening. Why? Because we don't want to do it in the dead of summer, because there's all the tourists are here and it's just super hot and uncomfortable. So we want to make sure that we're comfortable and it's a good time and you're not just sweating and dying of the heat, right? Because we go into the summers and the summers are 80s to 90s, right? You get into the fall, it's like 70s or 80s. But here's the big thing. Here's the big thing about all of this that you guys should really understand, and it is the humidity. What makes this place so cold when it's cold and so hot when it's hot? It's the darn humidity. It kills you. It takes your soul away. It's not that bad, but my goodness. Like if you like the hot and humid area, this is perfect for you. But it does have a flip side. It does have the cold side with that humidity that makes it so much more colder. So I know you're thinking we're wimps here in Florida, thinking that 40s and 50s is cold, but it is when you put some moisture behind it, all right? Now, a couple of things here about the weather too. We do get plenty of rain. It happens really quick in short intervals, so if you don't like the weather, just wait a little while. You can expect that there's gonna be a good amount of rain. It's gonna torrential downpour and then be good to go. So we do get some storms that come off the Gulf here, the Gulf of, I think it's Gulf of America now. I don't know, it's trying and keep up with politics, but yeah, you'll get them off, the storms off there, which of course does lead to our hurricane risks that you do have here. What is hurricane season? That is that season between June and November, where we could get possible hurricanes that come out to this area. And not that we have too many of them. A lot of the buildings and the places that you're gonna go live, they're all up to code, so you don't have to worry so much about that. But we are gonna have to see an offset in that for the insurance cost, and the cost of building is going to be a little bit more because there's higher standards for that. So just kind of keep that in mind. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to jump over. I'm going to show you Fort Walton Beach High School. We're going to talk a little bit about schools. So let's go over there. Don't miss it. We got more coming. All right, so we are here over by the Fort Walton Beach High School and over here by the elementary school. I really just want to talk about the school systems here in Fort Walton Beach. So as you know, we have public and charter schools that are out here, some of which we do have Fort Walton Beach High, and we have Bruner, which is just up the street over here. These schools actually are rated, at least the high school here is rated an A if you go to niche.com. Some of the things that you'll want to certainly check out, of course, is to see what those comments are from the other parents. I don't know if you trust the kids' comments, but you can see a lot of those different things that are in here, what they're rated for not just, what people are saying about it, but academics. We're talking about the sports programs, right? We've got the football field behind me here. Everything else that you want to know about the schools and teachers and whatnot. What we also have here in this specific area, if you are in downtown Fort Walton Beach, is you're going to have direct access to the Fort Walton Beach High and Bruner Middle School. Now, if you're concerned about, hey, which area do I need to live in order to have access to these specific schools? Again, this is another reason to reach out to us. Give us a call, give us a text. We'll set up a quick phone call or consult, and we'll help you move to this area. All right, but if you are in here and you're in the northern part of Fort Walton Beach, you'll have access to Choctawhatchee, which we just call Choctaw High School, which is rated A-. And you'll also have access to Pryor, which is right across the street. Also, that middle school is rated as a B. Now, if you're looking to get into charter schools, there are some charter schools out there. The most notable of which is Liza Jackson. And Liza Jackson is K through 8. And then after that, of course, you could move them on through to the high school or whatever. So you can see that there are some good opportunities here. Now, interestingly enough about Fort Walton is that prior to in Destin, since we're talking about Destin, there is a charter high school in Destin. It's only a couple of years old. And prior to that, they used to have to bus all the kids over here to Fort Walton. And that's what it was for years and years. But now that they do have a charter high school in the area, now Destin does have elementary, middle, and high school now all there, except it's charter for the other one. That's just some of the areas that you'll have here. Now, since we're talking about schools and community, let's talk a little bit about what that truly means. So Our community has actually got much of a diverse background out here. Surprisingly enough, you'd think with what we've talked about already that it would be mostly military kids and lower income or whatever else that you may imagine for our area in lower Alabama or just a tourist town. That's actually not the case whatsoever. Surprisingly enough, if you want to talk about like diversity, let's just go through the different ones here. So 67% of our populace is white, only 67. We've got 11% of the black community, 4.7% for Asian, 4.6% for Hispanic, 16% of the entire people here will speak a second language as well. So pretty interesting dynamics for this area. But I think when we really get down to it, the best way to describe it, it's a really interesting community. It's the reason that my family and I live here. And it's because you get such a mix of everything, right? Because we're in basically lower Alabama here, we have a lot of that southern hospitality and southern values that are just instilled in this community. On top of that, there's a lot of people like myself that were transplants from all over the place from the military that decided to settle back down here. Because of that, we get just a diverse amount of different respectful sort of cultures that go with that, but it's kind of a melting pot in its own sense. But you get that. And plus we're in Florida, so you got that Florida man. If you haven't looked at that before, look that up because it's hilarious. The relaxed Florida-isms, and you just mesh it all together. And it is just the most fun, relaxed, and respectful people. And this is a place that I want my family to grow up in and to really instill those sort of values. And of course, just to have the access to this beautiful beach that's out here. For our next stop, we're going to go check out Fort Walton Beach Hospital and some of the surrounding areas and talk a bit about healthcare. So stick around, we got more. So here we're over at Fort Walton Beach Hospital here, and some things that we wanted to go over talking about. This hospital here has 309 beds, a variety of different services here. The physicians network is about 300. It does have emergency services, as you can see over here, and a level 2 trauma center, as well as comprehensive cardiovascular program, chest pain accreditation, reading again, just so many things. The primary stroke center certification, the cancer center, and they have a behavioral center, as you would imagine, in here, and the rehabilitation services, and of course, women care. So just a lot of different things. I've actually been in this hospital before. We had our new baby that came in here, and matter of fact, a lot of people had come up to me. One in particular was one of the main nurses, and she had told me, she's like, oh yeah, we found you guys on YouTube from all your information coming here. So again, a great opportunity to reach out to us and get the information about moving here so you can have a great experience just like that. Okay, so we're here back downtown Fort Walton Beach here off on Brook Street. And what I wanted to talk about here is the shopping and entertainment. So we just passed over by here some of the shops that we have. There's a boutique store. We're going by Jake and Henry's right here. We're about to walk by on the backside here. We'd go out front, but it's a little noisy, and I'd want you guys to see and to be able to hear me. There are just tons of different things for us to do out here. So we talked about earlier in the video, out here in the landing, they have the summer concert series. So what that is every Friday night during the summer, you'll be able to come out here. They'll have a free concert for everybody that wants to show up. You can bring your golf cart down here if you're lucky enough to be in the area where you can drive that down, which is, again, one of those reasons you should reach out to us, because we know the exact spots where you can get a golf cart in here. You can have access to all these things. Give us a call or text. We can help you out to get there. Having the summer concert series really nice. There's a ton of different vendors that will come in here. Not to mention, just being down here, you get tons of these different opportunities to go here. Now, just outside this area, right, that's where the Intercoastal Waterway is, but this is actually where the Billy Bowlegs Festival is, right there on the water. Now, there is a parade that goes through Fort Walton Beach as well. It's super fun for the kids and adults, alike. It's actually a pretty fun festival. It's gotten a little bit more tame since I was a younger man going to those things, so you can imagine what that's like. I won't necessarily get into that. Here's another cool shop since we're in front of it here too. You've got 3 dogs and a chick. It's a little boutique shop for your pups. Get in there, you get some free treats if you do end up coming in there. But you got festivals, parades. It's around Mardi Gras right now, so this is a great place to go for that, for the parades and everything. We did walk downtown a little bit earlier too, talking about the nightlife. There's plenty of stuff to do, especially during the summertime. Plenty of places to go hang out. We've got other outdoor venues like you can see behind me with food trucks. That's been a big thing. We also have one on the main strip here in downtown Fort Walton Beach as well. Plenty of stuff to do. Now, we did see Okaloosa Island before, tons of shops and things to do to go check out there. Uptown Station is where most of those places that you're gonna see. And of course, right downtown here, we have our downtown shopping. Now, there is a mall here, just like most places. The Santa Rosa Mall doesn't really have a whole lot thanks to online shopping, but it still does exist. So if you wanna go do the old style mall walking, you absolutely can. There's another food truck for you. There's lots of opportunities to go out and do that as well. Now on the island, there is a golfarium, and it's exactly what you think it is. It is a place where there is a nautical zoo. Yes, it can be petting as well. There's lots of opportunities to go out there. Our own mini SeaWorld here. Obviously it's not that big, but really, really cool venue. You can actually have weddings in there as well. Actually, I know 2 couples that have done so. And to be quite honest, any event that you want to throw out there it's a really, really nice place and very unique, very memorable place. So if you're looking on getting hitched, that's a place that you could go check out too. Now, in addition to, we also want to talk about if you're going to move here, what's the economy look like? What does the job market look like? So I had to do some research, to be quite honest, to figure out exactly what people do, because there's a perception here in our area that most of this place is just tourism, right? And that's all that's here. But that's not exactly true, or it's all military. That's not exactly true either. So let me run some stats by you to let you know what those are. So first and foremost, what do you think it is? Well, 18% of the job market here is accommodation and food services, which you would imagine in a tourist town, that would be a huge portion of it, right? And you wouldn't be wrong. So 18% comes from that. Now, 12% are gonna be in those retail shops, the retail trades. 10.5% is in our healthcare, which we've already gone and seen the hospital that's here in Fort Walton, and there are tons of different healthcare facilities around here. And the ones I couldn't get stats on, but are big portions to make up the rest of the percentages, is of course we have our government and our military contractors that move here and stay here. I'm one of them. We also have our professional, scientific, technical services that probably go with the test wing that's over at Eglin Air Force Base. Super smart guys. Hopefully you're watching my videos. And then last but not least, we have leisure and hospitality. So if you're looking to get a job out here, if you're looking to see what else is out here, again, this is a great opportunity to reach out to us to see if this area is going to be specifically good for your job, your family, and your lifestyle. So give us a call or a text. We're happy to help.